This is the Roborock Qrevo S, and right now, I've got it right in front of me. I want to share my quick review and also give you a real picture of what it's been like using this robot vacuum and mop in everyday life. When I first unboxed it, I was honestly struck by how modern and sleek it looked. It's mostly a clean white finish, smooth to the touch, and feels solid in hand, not lightweight or flimsy at all. On top, you'll notice a raised circular dome. That's the LiDAR sensor that helps it map your home, which I'll explain more about in just a bit. The robot itself is compact, and visually, it definitely looks like an upgrade from the older basic models. Connected to the robot is a larger docking station. This is kind of the headquarters that does a lot behind the scenes. The dock isn't huge, but big enough to handle self-emptying, water refilling, and even drying the mop pads automatically. So, if you, like me, get tired of cleaning your vacuum after it's done. Cleaning your floors, this setup is a big plus. From my experience, setup was actually pretty simple. There's no complicated installation. I plugged in the dock, set the robot on the base, and then used the Roborock app to connect it to Wi-Fi. The app only supports 2.4 GHz Wi-Fi, so just keep that in mind if you have a fancier router like I do. Pairing was straightforward, with clear step-by-step instructions right in the app. It does support connecting to Alexa, Google Home, and even Siri for voice control, but honestly, I mostly stuck with using the app out of habit. As for cleaning power, it's the 7,000 PA suction I noticed right away. For those new to robot vacuums, suction power, measured in pascals, basically tells you how strongly the robot can pick up debris. There are a lot of budget robots out there with suction somewhere in the 2,000 to 3,000 PA range, but here, you're getting more than double that. This means dust, crumbs, and even pet hair get pulled up from both hardwood and carpet. From my daily use, it's done a terrific job picking up all the usual mess in my kitchen and living room. With the floating main brush and side brush, it gets into corners and along baseboards better than most of the robots I've tried before. What sets this robot apart, in my opinion, is the dual spinning mops. These two round pads at the bottom rotate at 200 RPM, which is decently fast. If you've never used a robot mop before, what you're looking for is not just that it drags a damp pad over the floor, but actually scrubs stains. I spilled some coffee and let it dry out to see how the Roborock Qrevo S would handle it, and to my surprise, it actually removed most of the dried-on mess after one pass. Having adjustable water levels right in the app is also handy, because if you have wood floors, you might want less water, while tile can handle more. You can tweak all of this without ever needing to bend down or get your hands dirty. The dock takes the convenience to another level. After cleaning, the robot heads back, empties its dustbin, and gives the mop pads a wash, and even blows hot air to dry them. For someone who hates dealing with musty mop smells, this feature is perfect. There's a large 5-liter water tank inside the dock, so the robot can refill itself and mop a much bigger area before needing a top-up. Roborock says you can go weeks without having to empty the dock or refill water, depending on how messy your place gets, and for me, that claim has actually lined up, at least 2 weeks with average use before I had to do any maintenance. Let's talk about navigation. The LiDAR sensor on top does all the mapping. When I first started it up, the robot did a quick sweep of my apartment and used lasers to create a pretty accurate map right in the app. You can set no-go zones, define rooms, schedule cleanings, and even tell it to clean just one specific area, all with a couple of taps. It can store multiple floor maps too, so if you have more than one story, you're covered. The Qrevo S uses what Roborock calls reactive tech for obstacle avoidance. In my experience, it's okay, a step up from basic sensors, but not as advanced as models with cameras. It can spot larger items, but sometimes struggles with shoes, socks, or pet toys, so I still find myself needing to tidy up a bit before letting it run. Switching between carpet and hard floors was another strong point. The mops automatically lift up about 10 millimeters when the robot detects carpet. For anyone unfamiliar with this, without mop lifting, you end up with wet spots on your carpet. But here, the Qrevo S avoids that mess entirely. I have a rug in my living room, and the robot lifted its mops every single time before rolling over it. Battery life has been more than enough for my place. Roborock says it can run up to 180 minutes on one charge, and that matches what I've seen. Even after a full cleaning of my roughly 1,200 square foot apartment, there's usually battery to spare. The robot heads back to charge itself whenever needed, so I never worry about it dying. Mid-clean noise has always been a sticking point for me with vacuums. While the Qrevo S is quieter than many of the older, cheaper models, you'll still notice it if you're working from home or watching TV. I'd call it easily tolerable for vacuuming and almost silent during mopping. There are a few things I found that could be better. The Qrevo S doesn't come with a camera or advanced 3D sensors like some of the pricier Roborock models, so while it's good, there are times when it misses smaller obstacles or gets stuck. Sometimes, if there's a cluster of cables or small toys, I'll still need to give it some help. It also doesn't have features like video calling or pet snapshots, things you see in really premium robots. So if you're looking for super smart features, this might not be your pick. For pet owners, I should say, while it picks up visible pet hair, well, it sometimes leaves behind deeper hair stuck in low-pile carpet. Just something to keep in mind if shedding is a major issue in your house. From my experience, the app was a highlight. The interface is super user-friendly. If you're brand new to robot vacuums, it guides you through each step, from mapping rooms to scheduling. You also get a lot of customization, variable suction controls, mop water level, skipping individual rooms, cleaning in a certain order, or even controlling it with your voice assistant. It's all there. For anyone busy, this setup really minimizes the work. Not having to wash or dry mop pads by hand is a big time saver. And being able to set cleaning on a schedule means I don't have to remember to run it. It just happens. In conclusion, the Roborock Qrevo S is an outstanding balance of performance and convenience. It's perfect for people who want strong cleaning, low maintenance, and an app that just works. If you're a neat freak, a pet owner, or someone who hates chores as much as I do, I'd recommend this for your home. There are more premium models with a few extra bells and whistles, but for most people, this is all you really need. If you have a more cluttered house or lots of super thick carpets, you might want to consider your options. But overall, I found it reliable, consistent, and genuinely helpful. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions about the Qrevo S or what features matter most to you in a robot vacuum and mop. If you found this quick review helpful, don't forget to subscribe for more honest takes on smart home gear. Thank you for watching.